Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I am here with the Flying Carpets bundle from Kellybell Designs. I pulled out this Scrapbook Generation sketch. It is a sketch support. I will link it below. And I'm going to take these digital elements and use my silhouette print and cut to cut them out. I have a playlist with tutorials on how to use the silhouette along with Kellybell Designs creations to create hybrid layouts. I will link it below for you. I love the fact that I'm able to design these images in the Silhouette software, making them the perfect size for my layout, and then the Silhouette print and cut features do all the work for me. It's as simple as adding the paper to the mat, sending it through, and then all I have to do is peel it off the mat. I did size my photos down to 3x5 in Canva. I'm going to change the sketch up just a little bit where I have 3x5 photos and then 3x3 paper, as well as that little 3x3 square that has all my journaling on it. Once the silhouette got everything cut out for me, I am going to now cut down my papers. I'm going to cut down all of these papers to a 1-inch strip. I wasn't sure how many strips I was going to need, so I did print out extras, but I actually only ended up needing one strip from each one of the pattern papers, except for the really busy pattern paper as well as the pattern paper that has the genie's lamp on it. I needed two of those. I also pulled out my Stampin' Up! Punch to cut out a banner on each one of these strips. This is where I realized that I needed two more strips of paper, and that is going to be for the right hand side of the layout. So the strips that you see up there at the top are going to be on the left hand side, and then I'm just going to have two strips on the right hand side. Once I got all the banners cut out, I then am going to cut down all of these little squares. I'm using a 3x3 die to make sure that I have a perfect square along with my photos that I printed. Again, I wasn't sure what color I wanted to use in the background, so I just printed out a 3¼ by 3¼ inch square for several of the papers, knowing that I could figure out which ones I wanted to use on my layout. Then I'm going to get the right-hand side of the layout complete. As you can see here, I am just lining up the photos and the 3x3 squares, alternating them so that I have a grid pattern. You can see where I took inspiration from the sketch, but I did change it up. Because I don't have a wide format printer, I did have to pull in this gold glitter paper. I wanted to have a 1/4 inch strip separating these photos and papers, and the gold accents just really played into this layout as well. As I'm getting the photos and the papers down, let me just tell you a little bit about what's going on over at Kellybell Designs this weekend. This weekend is all about digital scrapbooking, and Kellybell Designs has 45% off their entire store. If you are a subscriber to their newsletter, you would have received a newsletter coupon for an additional 10% off. Over on the Kellybell website, there is also currently a grab bag for this collection. The grab bag includes the mini kit, the page starters, word flares, snippets, journal cards, and two quick pages, all for only $7. If you're wanting to try out digital collections, whether you're creating digital scrapbooks or hybrid scrapbooks, this is the time. You'll get all of that for an amazing price, and you'll be able to see exactly what each one of the collections include. And the best part is if you purchase today or tomorrow, so that is October 4th or 5th, there is a free add-on to this collection. You'll get additional papers as well as embellishments and the Aladdin and Jasmine title piece. Plus, over on the Facebook group as well as the blog from the website, there are lots of different games that you can participate in, to include a scavenger hunt, a pin it to win it, as well as a question of the day. Some of these games include a free participation prize, and then you also have the chance to win gift cards to Kellybell Designs. I will link all of the details below, including the Kellybell website and the Facebook group. If you do decide to purchase anything from the website, if you would kindly mention in the order notes that Life and Layouts sent you, I would really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get back to the layout. I've got all of those photos and the 3x3 squares down on the right-hand side of the layout. I did lay out my banner strips, trying to figure out which color combination I wanted. There are three different yellow slash gold papers, and I didn't want them to be close together. There's also a lot of great B-side or subtle patterns in this collection, and only a few of the more busy papers, and I definitely didn't want those together either. But I finally came up with a combination that I think will work. I lined up the right hand side of the layout with the left, and I knew that the banners were going to go all the way to the edge of the right hand side, so I had to make sure that I flipped the paper over. And then I just lined up all the banner strips. I didn't add a lot of adhesive because I knew that I was going to be stitching on most of the banners. Once I got all of the banner strips down, I then did have to do a little bit of paper shaving on the layout because it didn't go all the way to the edge, which is something that happens to me often. Now I'm going to pull out my stitching tools to include this Tim Holtz ruler, which is perfect for creating straight lines, especially on these banners. I then pulled out several threads. I'm going to be doing tone on tone for these banner strips. For the yellows, I decided to use a more bright yellow over on the far left, but the two that are on the right, I am going to end up using the same yellow because they are very similar in color. But I did end up using three different color blues because the blues are vastly different in this collection. And then the last thread that I had to pull out was the red thread. I did all of my stitching offline and I slowed the video down here so that you can see that amazing detail. I love that yellow slash gold color against that really busy pattern paper. And then along with that, the tone on tones for all of the other colors. I decided not to put stitching on the pattern paper that had the genie's lamp on it because I was afraid that I would stitch right through the lamp and I didn't think that I would like it. I did need to add some liquid adhesive to all of the strips because I didn't have a lot of adhesive on it. I don't like to add lots of adhesive before I stitch on my layouts because sometimes that will have the adhesive get stuck to the needle and then it makes it a little bit more difficult to get the needle through the papers. So adding just a little bit of liquid adhesive afterwards is usually how I fix that. And now I'm going to decorate these 3x3 squares. I don't know what it is, but creating tiny little scenes in smaller squares is something that I am definitely loving. I know that I've gotten that inspiration from Nicole, and having the digital content and being able to make the embellishments the size that I need for whatever square I'm working on is definitely a plus. So for that blue square, I decided to add the embellishment that was already created for me. It's the genie's lamp and it says, "What would you wish for?" And I did add that up on some foam adhesive. There was one little piece that didn't attach to the rest of it, but I decided to put that flat to the layout so it did give it a little bit more dimension. In the purple square down at the bottom, I'm going to add that window screen, I think that's what it's called, as well as the magic carpet. And then I had planned out just adding the meet and greet, but I wasn't liking the way that the meet and greet was sitting with the other two items. So I decided to go ahead and add the red flower. When I'm printing out embellishments, once I get everything on my mat, I will print out additional flowers and stars because my thought is I never know, I might be able to use them on my layouts. And if I don't, they are usually solid colors, so I can stick them in my color binders. So the flowers and stars that I don't use will go in the blue or red or yellow color binders so that I can use them on other layouts. And then for that little red square, the collection does come with a couple of clouds, and I thought it would be cute to have that little camel walking with the clouds behind him. They're definitely not to proportion because if the clouds and the camel were that size, that camel would be huge, but it just is really cute in that little square. I decided to add a purple flower and then another tag that says it's all so magical. And then over on the left-hand side is where I'm going to add the two photos of me and Abu. So let me talk a little bit about this meet and greet. Disney has been offering a Passholder lounge for the last couple of years, and the lounge usually includes a special meet and greet. In 2024, that meet and greet was Abu. So one day after school, Eli and I headed over to Epcot to the Morocco Pavilion so that we could check out this Passholder lounge. Eli could care less about meeting characters, but he's definitely there for the food, and the Passholder lounge usually includes free snacks. So I have one little photo over on the far right-hand side of him enjoying his snack. When Abu came out, I got in line, and I always try to make my character experiences a little fun. So when I went up to him, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna hide you so that you can steal all these treasures." And the cast member went right along with it. So the photo pass photographer caught two photos of me trying to hide Abu, and then got a really great photo of me and Abu hugging. Those are the photos on the right-hand side of the layout. For the left-hand side of the layout, it's just the two standard photos that you normally get when you have a character meet and greet. The title that I'm using of Meeting Abu is actually one of the participation prizes. So if you head over to Kellybell's website and check out the games that are being played this weekend, if you participate in that game, you will be able to pick up this title as well. I struggled a lot with getting down these photos. I added the photo down, but then realized that I needed to add the date, so I had to pull it up. Got that piece down, but then realized that I wanted to have the title piece on top of the photo as well, so I had to end up pulling up the photo again. But it just makes it so much easier when those pieces are all attached and I can add the foam adhesive to the back of the entire piece. So I did eventually get the photo as well as the date and the title down. And then I'm going to add a few more embellishments. I added a blue star behind my title as well as the red hat. And then I did decide to put that little genie's lamp up on some foam adhesive. And then I added a purple flower behind my blue star. I had one more tag that says "A wish granted," and I thought that it would look nice coming off of that blue star. I did add some 1 millimeter foam adhesive from scrapbook.com, so I do have some layering dimension in this layout because the fun foam does add a little bit more depth. I pulled out my color boxes in blue, purple, and red, and I found some of these like gemstones. I added it to the centers of all of the flowers that are on the layout, as well as 3 additional gemstones over there next to the title piece. And then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. My journaling says, another great pass holder experience. Disney has been offering the pass holder lounge for a few years now. And this time in the Morocco Pavilion, we got to meet Abu. Eli was perfectly content with his snack, no surprise there, and skipped the character photos. Abu was so mischievous, and I even tried to hide him so he could sneak off with some of the treasures on display. The Disney photographer captured the moment perfectly, and Abu gave me the biggest hug before we posed for pictures. It's such a silly, magical memory with Eli enjoying his treats and me having a monkey sidekick, both of us soaking in the Disney magic in our own ways. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.